That's rough. Okay, my friends. Well, here's the deal. We are gonna I'm pulling back on the volume a little bit. That's totally fine. This is gonna allow some of you to either fine tune some stuff. This could be making something slightly more complicated if you've been practicing and you're like, hey, I've been doing 4 sets of 10 and I could do it this way. Maybe we add weight or, whatever else. You're doing deadlifts today. I mean, deadlifts. We're deadlifting without a bar, all that good stuff. We're going for 3 sets of 10 single leg deadlifts per side. So not a huge amount of decrease, but we're doing 1 less round than the week before. And then 8 plank ups just to get the shoulder blades and the upper back starting to move a little bit. So nothing crazy big. We'll go over those movements. The workout itself is 5 rounds of 10 total Cossack squats. So again, not a ton. We're just getting the hips to move around a little bit, feel it out. 10 push-ups, that'll be the bulk of your work. So it's okay to break these up into 2 sets of 5 or just reduce it right off the bat. Okay. If 50 push-ups is out of the question, even when you break them up. And then we have 10 dead bugs, tuck-ups, or V-ups. And we'll talk about any of that. So a bit of floor work. So kind of pulling it back a little bit so then you can kind of make things harder if you want to make them harder. For anyone with the option of more weight, part A, the first part, is a great place to do it if you feel okay. Anyone with the bigger kettlebell, we can go 2-footed deadlifts as well. So let's just start with our usual warm up, just with the floor work. So starting with some cat-cow, seeing how your body's moving this morning. Or not, as the case may be, which is totally fine. Okay, after 10 cat cows, let's go our alternating bird dogs. So one arm, one leg, opposites, reaching, lift the back leg, try to keep your back nice and flat. Not lifting leg too high. If you need balance, you keep both hands down. I'm flexing my foot, but you can point your toes. Some people, it does not matter how you do that.
Oh my God, I have slightly sore glutes, and then you know what that means? That means I have glutes.
They mean you use them.
Holy shit!
That's very exciting. That's
Yeah.
very exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, glute engagement somehow is it's critical, I've been told. Shocking. Let's have a seat. Let's do our 90-90s. We'll get to the shoulder stuff in a second. We'll go kind of hip bias and then we'll get our arms. So sitting up tall, you can lean back, you need to lean back. Rotating to one side. The gap between the ball of your foot or your heel and your knee. The lean back is for me is really as I'm transitioning. So as I'm going across, once I kind of get to that side, I can kind of then sit up. I don't need to necessarily stay lean back. I find that's more of a stretch here. If I sit up, I get more of a stretch in both hips, but whatever floats your boat. I'm into it. Okay. We're gonna continue this with our arm circles. We're gonna do something slightly different today. I say slightly different. We're gonna do an abbreviated version of what we normally do. So normally I'm kneeling here just so I don't have to stand up, but normally I have you do this one, right? T-shape. This time we're gonna stick with one arm at a time. My one arm is gonna go thumb back. So my thumb goes back towards the wall. Turn my palm away. I'm gonna look at my palm and rotate. So here's the deal. If your hand's out here, yeah, that's cool. No big deal. If your hand's up here, that's fine too. And just gonna look over your shoulder, rotate a little bit. Rotation of the upper back is welcome. And we're doing 10 rotations per arm. Something slightly different. Hi, Max. Max just decided to say hello. Other Max. Cat
I
Max.
figured. Like, I've been here.
Cat Max decided to say hello.
We were just saying hi to your shoulders, Maxine.
I
Yeah.
missed the kid.
Oh, and
Oh,
there's,
no.
Andy's gone.
Oh, sad.
he's just like, look how cute I am. I'm making an appearance. Do you think I'm cute? Once you've done 10 one side, you can just switch to the other.
This will be interesting. Oh.
Yeah, so you can be gentle with this one, Maxine. It might even be like, can
Yeah.
you raise up and then rotate? And it's okay if it's down here, right?
It's actually better than I thought it was going to be. That's not good. Okay.
Nice and slow.
And so, yeah, and that's where that upper back rotation starts to come in. You don't have to reach with the hand, especially if the shoulder's feeling, right, delicate, or just, right, literally keep it like from shoulder to hip. Just, right, depending on where the injury was in the first place.
It was the ball of my shoulders.
Okay, so maybe honestly, this might not be a great one for that shoulder, and this like these guys are like a nice like in between, right? The one thing
Yeah.
but I'm glad you tried it just to make sure, see how it feels.
Yeah.
We're gonna continue our warm up with some, I almost said hip thrusts, excuse me, some glute bridges. We're gonna start with 2 feet, and then we're gonna sort of build to a single leg version. Speaking of glutes and hamstrings. So this is something where we're gonna start with 10 glute bridges, a pretty simple exercise I've done before. And you're just gonna go ahead and lift your hips by squeezing your butt. So feet, right? Your feet are super close to your butt. That's a little quaddy. If it's super far away, that's hamstringy. And something in between is your butt. So you might feel your hamstrings too. I'm gonna squeeze my butt by lifting my hips. You do whatever you need with your hands. And let's do 10 reps with 2 feet first, just to wake up the body. If you have tight quads or hip flexors, also respect that. Don't push into that if you don't feel good about it. We're gonna do a single leg version. Option 1, you can just lift one leg. Okay, simple enough. Option 2, if that feels really aggressive or you feel like your hamstring's gonna cramp, or your butt's gonna cramp, go ahead and instead of setting your feet evenly, set one foot slightly forward. And that foot that goes forward is gonna be less emphasized, but still assist. So my right foot is now slightly more forward than my left. I'm gonna still squeeze both my cheeks, but this time my left leg is being biased. So you can still do the same thing. Right? 10 reps per leg. If you're not getting the same height or extension of that hip with a single leg, that's okay. There you go. So hopefully we're feeling a little, I say, if not warm, at least a bit loosened up. So things are helping starting to activate, a little woken up a little bit. Let's talk about the plank up since we're near the floor, just because, well, it's convenient. The plank ups are right a tall or a push-up position to a forearm plank position. Your feet can be a little wide here just to allow for some stability, so wider than normal. And it's okay for some shifting of the body to happen. It's really about we're working through the shoulders. And again, a plank hold here is perfectly fine, or shoulder taps. I'm going to show the movement first, and then I'll show you substitutions. So we have our plank position. And then I'm going to go ahead nice and wide to almost the edge of my yoga mat here. And then down to my forearm. Back up. 1. I can switch arms from the board. 2. Okay. So just basically walking on our hands in some respects. For anyone loading the shoulder, it's not great. You can do scapular push-up. So tabletop here is fine. A little more PT adjacent, elbows stay straight. Or we can go and do some sort of like shoulder tap or assisted shoulder tap, if that is the case, or forearm hold or plank hold. So let's go ahead and just practice 1 or 2 reps, make sure it feels okay, or you have a scaling option you like, and then we'll come to a standing position. All right. We're just kind of playing around with this to start, and then we'll get into our single leg deadlifts. We're all pretty familiar with these by now. Like I said, because the volume's a little lighter, not by much, but it's down. We can go single leg. So that can be the complexity, could be lifting your back foot. It could be lifting your back foot and adding weight. Or it could be, ironically, putting 2 feet down and getting a heavier kettlebell, barbell, or whatever else. So either way, deadlift is a hinge motion. 2 foot, 1 foot, hip goes back, knees are unlocked. Going back this way, always staying braced whenever we hinge or do anything else. So either way, bracing is one of those things where you can think of as taking a punch or whatever it is, but it's usually the best way is for me is a rib cage. So my rib cage, I'm standing up. If I'm not braced, my rib cage is out. If I'm tucked and passive, that's not useful. So I stand up and my rib cage, I lift standing up. My rib cage is kind of like even with my hips. That's a good like kind of starting point, especially when we're hinging. It's not going to be a huge difference with the weights we're dealing with today, but if you're going heavy, it does make some sense. Let's go ahead and do this. 10 reps per leg, my friends. If you're doing 2-footed, 10 total, right? But that I want some significant weight there, if that's the case. Significant for you. If you don't want to normally lift the back foot, go ahead and lift the back foot. Or if you have heavier weights, but 2-foot deadlifts are maybe not appropriate, it's still just too light for that. Keep your back foot down. Just try that version. Or you can play with where you carry your weights. That's great. After you completed 10 per side, I'll have you do your 8 plank ups. So don't feel like you have to pause or wait unless you want to take a break. Maxine, was that shoulder thingy not good for the shoulder? Is that iffy?
I'm fine. It's no residual pain or anything. It just found my limit on that.
Okay, cool. Just good to know. So if we were to do that one, we can always go back to like these guys.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, I'm not going to injure it anymore. You know, I have to work through
Okay.
this. So, yeah.
Okay. Or we can do a lot more shoulder warm up before doing that. How about that? How's your looking at Meg? Because I see faces. You good? Okay. Nice. So plank ups obviously a combination of core work, clearly, but a little bit of upper back and kind of shoulder blade control, just in general. We're doing 3 total rounds. Good question. Sorry, didn't say that. Yeah, if I forget to say things, you can, it's probably not you, it's probably me. You can ask. Like I said, once I set those boundaries, I'll be right back. Nice job. There we go. And within 10, if you need to bring your feet together and stand, that's totally legit. Like, you don't have to keep your feet off the ground, although that is a great way to make the whole thing more challenging. So I'm a big fan, but you don't have to go that far. Nice. Everyone's kind of increasing the range of motion. The knees bending more, which is great. As long as the hip is the thing to start it. A knee bend just makes it a little bit harder. That's great. When Ari obviously decides it's her mat. Yes. I can't remember how many rounds you've done, Joseph, but we're doing 3 total. If you want to do 4, you're welcome to do 4. I can't, it's lost count. Yep, 1 more. Okay. Yeah, lead with the hip, not the chest, and that'll, yeah, beautiful, that's better. So when the hip stops, so do you. There we go. There you go. Nice work, all of you. It's one of those things where as you fatigue, I would say start on the non-dominant side, but that's again a bit of a personal choice there. Starting on your non-dominant side gets the hard part done first. Yeah, of course. Sounds like it's fine, but if anyone hears like a gurgling in the background, that's the cat's water thing. Let me know. I can put water in it if it's driving you insane. I'm not sure the microphone picks it up, but okay. Meg went off to do something. That's fine. So in the meantime, actually, how did the plank ups? They feel okay on shoulders, backs? We're okay?
I did the shoulder taps.
That's that's fine. I
Yeah.
figured that was probably where we're gonna go with that. And it's a similar principle. We're just not moving through the joint the same way,
Yeah.
but you still get a similar stimulus. So as a reminder, I say part B, the second part of today, Cossack squats. This is one where, unlike the, air squat, two-footed squat, whatever we got going on, this is more of a lateral movement. So this is one where we're respecting hips, knees, and ankles on particular sides, and depth isn't necessarily hip crease, below, or at parallel. It's just sort of whatever those joints can tolerate. Weight is optional. If you already carry weight, you can kind of carry it in front, or maybe on the shoulders if you're feeling fancy. If you have some dumbbells, the kettlebell gets a little weird for that, but it's not impossible. The push-ups, like I said, these are all 10s, right? So 10 Cossack squats, 10 push-ups, 10 dead bugs, or a bit of core work. So the push-ups are going to take the majority of your time. That's okay. And also feel free to decrease the volume if 50 is just too much, period, even if you break it up. So you can change it, divide that number by 5, and do that per round. The Cossack squat, your stance is going to be wide is relative to you. So we're going to start with some two-footed squats first, just to make sure we know where we like to start from. So essentially, if I start, I'll show you my feet here. If I start about shoulder width to squat, right? Squat down. Okay, so that's about where I like to squat from. My Cossack squat is going to be a little bit, I'll go on my mat here, a little wider. I tend to toe out. You can go feet forward. Either way, I want that hip, knee, ankle relationship to remain in shape. So whether it's here or whether it's here, that's fine as long as it's not here. Okay. So I'm going to go sideways. This is one of those things where I can stand up or not. I'm going to sit to my left, sit back to my left, right? So from the side, it looks like I'm squatting, right? Come back. So this is one of those things where little lateral. If this is not feeling great, we can do either a curtsy lunge or we can do a reverse lunge, right? So for the sideways. Chest stays up. We have a name tag. I want to see it. There you go. 10 total. Still sitting back like you're, if you had to sit down, you could potentially with one butt cheek. There you go. And if you're on the flexible side, for some people, lifting the opposite leg can be helpful. I say some. So if you want, you can kind of lift this opposite foot. If you might feel a stretch in this inseam. For anyone with super flexible ankles, you might be squatting to your knees. Okay, so once you've done 10 Cossack squats, we're going to do 10 push-ups. I think at this point, we're probably familiar with how you scale your push-ups and how often. Break up early and often. Let's do our 10 push-ups. Hands below our shoulders. You don't need to take this on, but if anyone finds their push-ups being too easy, or in fact, you're just like, I don't know, pumping through them like it's nothing, congratulations. That's definitely not me, but I can show you something that'll make them harder if you want them to be harder. So instead of having your hands below your shoulders, right? So I should see my wrists here. You're going to go ahead and shift your weight slightly forward. So my shoulder's over my middle of my hand. So as I come down, I'm going to scale this because I don't feel like doing this right now. My hand is much closer to my waist than anything else. And that loads the shoulder a little more. That's not a good or a bad. It just is. It's just harder to do. So we have 3 options, more than 3 options for our third motion. Dead bugs, tuck ups, or V ups. Dead bug Mike's doing a great job of, right? You're on your back. Knees are bent. Backs is in the ground. And I'm going to move opposite arm, opposite leg. If you want, you can go same arm, same leg, right? But this doesn't change, right? Hip to shoulder doesn't change off the ground. Option 2 is a tuck up, where I'm going to lay down, bring my hands to my heels. right? I would reach when I have a couch, but if I didn't have a couch, I'd reach back, touch, right? So I'm kind of like a mini accordion. Option 3, V-ups. Same thing. I'm gonna reach back here. I'm gonna go diagonally so I can do this. Reach back, reach my feet. Instead, come back down. If you need to, you can reach opposites. It's about lifting your chest, not lifting your legs. Okay, so it's not a seated can. Just a heads up, right? Either way, we're doing 5 rounds of this. These are all totals, right? 10, 10, 10. So you're gonna rotate. Settle into rhythm. Break up your push-ups early and often. Totally fine. And if you get bored of one ab work, you can do something else. The dead bug's a nice default. There's no kind of craning of the neck. Tuck ups and V-ups get a little bit head and neck heavy. Okay. The kettlebell's like a baby Joseph. You're rocking the baby.
My stone baby.
We're stone baby. It's not growing though, so it's it stays the same weight every time.
Maybe that's what I want. I learned that babies turn into people who talk.
They do.
It's true.
You know who doesn't? Cats.
Yes.
Cats are cute and screamy, and then they become big and screamy, but they don't talk. Nice. Nice. Yeah, with the V-up, if flexibility is a factor, it's okay to have the knee bent, right? By all means. Or if you go opposite leg, right? So just keep one leg down while you reach one foot up. Yeah, you get the same sort of compression without having to have that hamstring flexibility, basically. And you can alternate if you're nice.
Is this timed or are we just rolling through?
Yeah, we're just rolling through. Good question. Yeah, we're just kind of, I think everyone is around either in round 2, or as you are kind of approaching in round 3. So sometimes it's okay to lead with the knee, Joseph, but also go hip. So just a little hip back first. So what you're doing isn't wrong. I want to start with that. But if you go knee first, or you think Asian squat, right? Knee first, it's very quaddy, which again, not bad. It just is. If you go a little bit hip back first, like you're sitting down, and then the knee bend, you get a little hamstring too. That's all. Yeah. So there's nothing wrong with a knee forward squat. It's just, doing it on purpose or not. Nice. So feel free to use both styles, but understand why we're doing them. There you go. Nice. And feel free to adjust I said it's okay to start, let's say you start with V-ups, then work your way to alternating V-ups, tuck-ups, dead bugs. It's okay to adjust your way through this if you need to. Yeah. Nice work. 10 total of each thing. Meg might be doing, are you doing 20, Meg? It's okay to do 20. That's just 10 total. I'm doing 10 per side.
on the dead bugs?
Just 10 total, but that's okay.
Okay, well,
10% is great. I'm just, you don't have to do 10.
the dead bugs are feeling like enough post-race. They're feeling really good, like they're really
Yeah.
starting in here too.
Yeah, agreed. Okay, that's feeling good. Don't stop. That's great. Yeah, dead bugs are one of those for a long time. I don't anymore. I thought I was too good for them. Not too good for anything, but I was too good for them. Turns out I was doing them wrong. And, when you do them correctly, they're quite effective. So it's funny how things work out. Nice job. I will say post V-ups or tuck up shows up a little up dog is not bad because we're compressing the system. You want to open the system back up again. But I mean, they're not good, bad ab work. It's just, it's a lot of closing, not a lot of opening.
Ooh, it is nice.
Yeah. Just because you're just like, everything's just so folded forward. It's just like doing the opposite. Just a slight overcorrection.
Balance? What?
Balance? No, we don't need that.
You don't need that.
This weekend, I need to fix my rear derailleur on my gravel bike. It's just skipping, not a big deal, but I didn't have time. By the time I figured it out, I wanted to ride. My road bike, the pedal is still fucked. So I need to replace the pedal. So I'm working on it. Again, haven't fixed it because I'm overbooked. So I bought out my 2002 Dolce Sport, bought her out, put air in the tires, and I was like, we're going for a ride. This is what we're doing. And I was like, this bike is definitely not fit. I just put this one together on my own and it felt okay, but I clearly did it myself and I didn't have a brake fit on that one. So, but what are you gonna do? It still has suicide brakes on it. Forgive the name. Still has little squeakies in front and rim brakes. So I had to learn how to use rim brakes again. That was exciting. Old rim brakes too. So. Yeah. Nice, Meg. I can't see your knees, but just make sure your knee is tracking over the middle of your foot. Yeah, okay. Nice. For my muted athletes, just give me a hand. What round are you on? 4, 5, 5. Meg's on 5. Maxine, question mark. That's okay. I just see some hands. We'll just say you're on 5, Maxine. I think you're actually on, all joking aside, you're pretty on pace with Meg. So I think it's about 5. Safe to say. There you go. Nice. That's great.
Just having so much fun, I stopped counting.
I mean, I hope that's true, but if you just stopped counting, that's okay. I notoriously can't count past 3 rounds if I'm in some sort of like particularly high intensity like interval work. I'm just like, huh? But just
I'm the worst at school. If there's anything more than like 3 sets of something, I'm like, oh boy. It's like scrolling through my watch. How much you put that?
I mean, they're literally people legitimately make products. Like I
Yeah.
have a whole thing of yarn behind the computer right now, and I can literally just make knots, and I can people make
Yeah.
that for people, and people buy them because they can't count. And it's shocking, and they're oddly effective. So there you are.
This is why in marathon, like in 1 mile swims and like swim meets, they actually have counters and they put lap things into
Yeah.
the pool so you know how far you are. Because
Yep.
you lose track.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know, I need one of those.
Because I don't look at my watch while I'm swimming, except if I'm doing like 500 pull. I gotta look down and I'm like, am I at 300? I am at 350.
Yeah.
Oh shit, I'm only at 250. You know,
Yeah.
that's the only time I look at my watch in the pool. So
Wow. I'm constantly looking at it because I'm constantly losing track of where I am.
big
My
fucking
mind just
clock.
wanders. And then I'm like, oh shit, what am I doing?
So all joking aside, I changed the face of my Apple Watch to an analog clock because I had digital for so long. I couldn't spot a clock and be like, it's like 3:20. Like, it's not
Oh,
exact.
wow.
You know, like I couldn't tell you what time it was without thinking about it. And I was like, no. That's a skill I want to keep, right? Can't keep anybody because I can't do basic math, but I want to be able to read an analog clock. So I was like, I'm putting my watch back to analog, so I have to. And so now I can spot a clock and be like, 3:45, whatever. But yeah, the big clock on the wall that they put in all pools apparently are highly useful, I've been told. I don't know from experience because I've never had to use one.
Oh, I feel like it's coming.
Yeah. We're gonna get Kirstie in the pool.
Okay.
You
We
know,
can do it on Friday.
Actually, I don't know if I can, but if I can, maybe I'll just
Wait,
be.
no, Maxine. She
What?
said no this week. She's having boundaries.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I have to look at my
Don't
schedule.
overcommit.
I have to look at my schedule first before I
No,
can give you an
seriously,
answer.
it's fine.
No, I need to not panic, and that's just a whole separate. That's a whole can of worms that needs to happen not in front of 4 friends of mine who are just having a panic attack to ruin your birthday. Happy birthday! Yeah, doesn't bode well. I just paddle around. I would just be like, okay.
That's all I was talking about too. I was just talking about paddling around and having fun and your body